Archangel Michael says, "You thought they loved you, but they were just afraid to lose to you." There's a reason this message has found you now. There's a divine orchestration behind every word being spoken over your spirit. This is not a coincidence. It's not an accident. It's not just another message scrolling across your screen. It's a spiritual alert, a heavenly intervention, a call from realms beyond what you see, and it carries the voice of Archangel Michael speaking directly into your atmosphere. The tile is not a metaphor. It's a revelation. It's the unraveling of a truth you've been sensing in your bones but couldn't quite name. You thought it was love. You thought the bond was sacred. You thought they supported you. But in the silence, behind the scenes, beneath the smiles and the praise, fear was rooting itself in the shadows of their heart. They were never clapping because they believed in you. They were clapping because they didn't think you'd ever outgrow them. They stayed close because they thought your rise would be slow and safe, manageable, predictable. But now that your energy has shifted, now that your purpose has begun to take form, now that your name is echoing in places their feet have never touched, they are panicking. They are pretending to be for you while secretly working to delay you. They are claiming loyalty while wrestling with envy. I didn't love you with freedom. They love you with fear. Fear of your glow. Fear of your potential. Fear of being the one left behind. Archangel Michael says this truth must now be revealed, because your next elevation depends on how you handle it. You're not being called to hate, retaliate, or expose. No. You are being called to see, to discern, to untangle yourself from emotional illusions and reclaim your authority. Because what you thought was a heart connection was in many ways a hidden competition. And heaven is no longer allowing these false alignments to survive in the proximity of your purpose. The next 24 hours will begin to show you signs, strange silence, subtle changes, energy that no longer flows the same way. Don't ignore these. They are not emotional paranoia. They are spiritual facts. And Archangel Michael has come to prepare you. This message is your armor. This message is your light. Archangel Michael says, "Be still and listen. The heavens are speaking directly into your reality. Be cautious now because the atmosphere around you is shifting. You are walking in a season where truth will speak louder than attachment, and illusions will fall like ash at your feet." Archangel Michael does not come to whisper. He comes to pierce through the noise, to roar through the deception, and to tear down every spiritual veil that has blinded your discernment. And today, right now, in this very moment, you are being summoned into truth. A truth that may feel sharp at first. A truth that may shake the emotional foundation you once leaned on. But a truth that will save your soul from deeper damage if you obey it. You have been under the impression that someone close to you, someone you laughed with, cried with, built with, genuinely cherished you. You thought they loved you for who you are. You thought they stayed because they saw your heart. But Archangel Michael says, what they saw was your rise. What they feared was your potential. And what they hid behind soft words was a silent battle between support and sabotage. Their smile was real, but so was their envy. Their embrace was sincere, but so was their fear of losing their spot in your story. They began to feel you slipping away, not because you pushed them, but because your destiny began to demand more space, more time, more light than their comfort zone could handle. This is why the energy feels different lately. This is why their compliments sound rehearsed. This is why their eyes don't light up the way they used to when you share your good news. Because their love wasn't rooted in joy, it was rooted in control. And now that they can't contain your evolution, they're afraid. not afraid of losing you because they value you, but afraid of watching you become someone they no longer have influence over. Someone who surpasses their reach. Someone who breaks out of the narrative they crafted in their own insecurities. And so, this message carries urgency. The next 3 hours will begin to unlock truths you haven't yet faced. You may feel emotional. You may feel confused. But you must not shrink. Archangel Michael has drawn his sword not to wound, but to sever the ties that bind your destiny to emotional bondage. This is not the time to plead for loyalty from those who fear your freedom. This is not the time to beg for closeness from those who were only near to monitor, not to nurture. Archangel Michael says, the sword of separation is sacred. Do not resist it. You are being delivered from disguised bondage, and you will look back and realize that this heartbreak was heaven's rescue mission. Type I am free if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now covering your next 24 hours with clarity, power, and divine protection. There is a conversation that happened when you were not in the room. A whisper spoken with tension. A glance exchanged in the shadows. A text deleted. A word twisted. Archangel Michael says, your name has been on their lips, not with praise, but with confusion, with hesitation, and with an undertone of fear. They are talking about you behind closed doors because they no longer understand you. You have outgrown the image they created of you in their mind. And now, as your light expands, their perception is shattering. You are not who they painted you to be. You are becoming who heaven always called you to be. And that, beloved, is terrifying to someone who never imagined they'd have to compete with the very person they claim to love. The mystery is not why things feel different. The mystery is how long they've been hiding the truth from themselves. They didn't just begin to envy you overnight. No. This was slow. This was silent. This was spiritual. They were never clapping with pure joy. They were clapping with a mask, and that mask is beginning to slip. Archangel Michael says, they are wrestling not with you but with their own inadequacies. You have become a mirror they no longer wish to look into. Every time you speak with confidence, it reminds them of what they're not. Every time you rise without their help, it reminds them that their presence was never your lifeline. They are not angry that you're rising. They are angry that they no longer have power over your rise. Someone who once held your hand is now discussing your every move like a stranger. They are asking others about you. They are pretending to be concerned when they are actually calculating. A conversation is happening behind your back, and it's not just idle gossip. It's strategic. It's the kind of talk that reveals more about their fear than your actions. You've done nothing wrong, and yet your silence is being misread. Your boundaries are being mistaken for arrogance. Your growth is being labeled as distance. But Archangel Michael says, do not bend to the weight of their projection. You do not owe an explanation for a spiritual evolution they were never meant to understand. You need to see this for what it is. This is not a misunderstanding. This is not a rough patch. This is not miscommunication. This is divine exposure. This is a revealing. Heaven is peeling back the curtain so you can finally see who was standing beside you and who was simply standing behind you, waiting for you to fall. There are those who could not handle your storm, but pretended they loved your rain. Now that the forecast has changed and your skies are clearing, they are no longer clapping, they are quietly cursing. And their fear is no longer subtle. It's visible. It's in their tone. It's in their sudden silence. It's in the way they don't respond to your wins anymore. Archangel Michael warns you, pay attention to the patterns. You are being watched not out of love but out of caution. You are being studied not to be celebrated but to be compared. They've uncovered something about you, but only a fragment. They sensed your power, but misread your heart. They tried to categorize you, but you broke their boxes. And now, in their discomfort, they speak, not always in words, sometimes in absence, sometimes in forced enthusiasm, sometimes in delayed responses. But make no mistake, their spirit is shouting, even when their mouth is silent. They are afraid, not because you harmed them, but because you're proof that their version of you was never real. And yet, this is not the time to retaliate. This is the time to see, to witness, to collect the spiritual data that heaven is now offering you freely. You are not being punished. You are being protected. You are being positioned. This emotional disruption is a spiritual alert, a loud, roaring bell in the spirit realm, telling you some doors need to be closed before the next elevation. Archangel Michael has drawn near because this truth can no longer stay buried. It is time to walk with eyes wide open. Type ISE the truth in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1212 is now unraveling every hidden lie and wrapping you in divine insight. Archangel Michael says, this battle is not of flesh and blood. It is not rooted in human misunderstanding, but in spiritual misalignment. What you're facing is not about a person, a situation, or a moment of tension. It is about realms colliding. Realms of purpose, realms of promise, realms of fear, and realms of light. You are being stretched into your divine identity, and that stretching is agitating the shadows that surrounded you quietly for far too long. The conflict you're experiencing right now is not personal. It is not petty. It is not emotional drama. It is spiritual warfare disguised as emotional detachment. It is spiritual jealousy masquerading as friendship turned cold. And heaven will not let you mislabel this moment. You were born into this time with a calling that outweighs your current comprehension. Your essence threatens the darkness that has been hiding in plain sight. The enemy is not only attacking through external storms, he's whispering through the mouths of those who once stood beside you. Archangel Michael declares, the closer you come to your divine destiny, the louder the resistance becomes, not from strangers, but from familiar faces who were never meant to cross into your next dimension. You thought they loved you, but they were never aligned with the magnitude of your mission. They loved the version of you that wasn't yet aware of its worth. But now they fear who you are becoming. This isn't betrayal. This is alignment. This isn't abandonment. This is divine subtraction. You are not losing people. You are being loosed from people. You are not being punished. You are being purified. Because your calling is heavy, and heaven knows you cannot carry dead weight into divine territory. The friction you feel is spiritual friction. It is the clashing of frequencies. You have shifted dimensions, and their spirit has not moved. You have ascended, and they remained in comfort. They were never meant to endure the altitude of your next breakthrough. And so, heaven is making the separation necessary for your survival. Let this sink in deeply. You are not misunderstood because you did something wrong. You are misunderstood because your anointing speaks in languages their spirit cannot interpret. They sense something different about you, but they can't name it. They feel something powerful rising in you, but they cannot define it. And so, their reaction is to resist it, to diminish you, to mock you in coded language, to withdraw their presence subtly. But this resistance is not about who you are, it's about who you're becoming. And Archangel Michael says, don't internalize the resistance. Recognize it for what it is, a signpost of transformation. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are under divine protection. The opposition you face now is not proof of failure. It is confirmation of favor. The fact that your very existence disturbs the comfort zones of others is not something to shrink from. It is something to embrace. You carry fire. You carry favor. You carry the fragrance of destiny. And that aroma disturbs the atmosphere of those still trapped in cycles of fear and stagnation. Your glow isn't pride, it's presence. Your silence isn't arrogance, it's alignment. And the more grounded you become, the more uncomfortable they become in your presence. Archangel Michael stands guard beside you, not to fight your earthly battles, but to war in the spiritual realms where your name is being spoken, where your identity is being misrepresented, where your destiny is being watched with suspicion. He reminds you, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not even the weapons cloaked in casual friendship or polite conversation. The sword he carries is not just to sever soul ties, it is to shield your path, to cut through confusion, to expose truth and establish divine justice. So don't look back. Don't chase. Don't explain. This season is not about proving your purity. It's about preserving your purpose. This isn't about salvaging human connections. It's about staying in sync with heaven's direction. A disconnection and protection. A shift is sacred. The storm around you is not meant to drown you. It is meant to wash away everything that can't survive the next season of your glow. Type I am chosen in the comments if this message resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 999 now surrounds you with divine clarity, spiritual reinforcement, and warrior grade protection. Archangel Michael says, prepare yourself. The atmosphere around you is no longer neutral. What was once silent envy has now begun to move into active resistance. You are no longer simply being observed. You are being targeted through whispers, emotional manipulation, and subtle confrontations. This is not paranoia. This is not overthinking. This is prophetic discernment stirring within your spirit. And the warning comes not to scare you, but to empower you. Because you will soon find yourself in a moment of decision, a moment when you must choose between reacting emotionally or responding spiritually. And heaven is already urging you, stand still. Be silent. Let your restraint speak louder than your retaliation ever could. There is someone who is planning to reach out to you, not with reconciliation, but with a disguised disruption. Their words will feel off. Your tone will sound rehearsed. Their timing will be suspicious. They may act like they're checking on you, but Archangel Michael says they're checking on your glow. They want to know how far you've risen. They want to see if you've noticed their silence. They're curious if you're still accessible, still vulnerable, still easily swayed by their version of you. But you must not respond from old wounds. You must not engage from the part of you that still wants closure. Because this isn't a conversation. This is a test. A spiritual ambush cloaked in false familiarity. In the next 3 hours, you may notice a post that feels directed at you. You may receive a message that carries old memories but lacks genuine warmth. Someone will mention your name in a space where it doesn't belong, twisting your words, reinterpreting your silence, misquoting your intentions. Do not be surprised. Do not be shaken. This is confirmation that your shift is real, your power is felt, and your absence is louder than your presence ever was. They see your elevation, and instead of celebrating, they are scrambling. And when fear takes the wheel, people act out of impulse, not insight. What they cannot control, they will attempt to smear. What they cannot access, they will try to invalidate. You must be wise now. You must be unbothered. You must be still. Because the moment you defend what heaven has already vindicated, you begin to fight battles beneath your calling. Archangel Michael declares, do not stoop to their level. Do not respond to shade with light. Do not entertain chaos with calm. Your peace is power. Your silence is sacred. Your non-response will frustrate every monitoring spirit trying to provoke you. Let the low vibrations crumble in your absence. Let the enemy wear himself out trying to drag you into drama that heaven has already defeated. There is also someone watching you with a plan that hasn't been spoken yet, a plan to approach you with an apology, not because they are sorry, but because they miss the control. They miss the access. They miss how your light once made them feel superior. And now that your glow no longer needs their validation, they are uncomfortable. Archangel Michael says, this is not a season of reconnection. This is a season of revelation. And when someone returns during revelation, it's not always to repair. Sometimes it's to delay. Be careful what you let back in simply because it feels familiar. Familiarity is not confirmation, and comfort is not covenant. Watch closely. Pay attention. You are not the same, and they are not confused. They know exactly what they are doing. But what they don't know is that you've already been fortified, that you've already been warned, that you've already been sealed with divine protection. Archangel Michael has gone ahead of you, clearing paths, cutting through spiritual interference, and silencing every tongue rising against your name in judgment. This is not the moment to question your worth. This is the moment to walk like the warrior you've become. They thought you'd respond. They thought you'd shrink. They thought they could bait you into a storm of their own making. But they forgot. Storms don't shake the ones who were born from the whirlwind. You are unshakable. You are unmoved. You are covered. And no attack formed in confusion can pierce the armor of someone walking in divine alignment. Type I am untouchable in the comments if this word aligns with your spirit. Blessing code 444 now shields your mind, your name, and your path from every weapon aimed at your peace. Archangel Michael says, now is the time to hold your peace with sacred power. Not because you are weak, not because you are unsure, but because your stillness is your warfare. Your restraint is your armor. Your silence is your divine roar. What you are dealing with cannot be fixed with explanations, nor can it be healed through back and forth justifications. This is spiritual. This is sacred. This is heaven's territory. You are not being called to fight. You are being called to trust. And trust is the most powerful weapon in spiritual warfare. Trust in who you are. Trust in who you are becoming. Trust in who sent you. And trust that what is being pulled away from you is not punishment. It is preservation. You don't need to respond to the false narratives. You don't need to correct their twisted versions of your truth. You don't need to offer access to those who only drew close when you were still doubting your glow. Archangel Michael says, stand still. Do not chase. Do not explain. Do not fold into the chaos they are trying to stir. They want your reaction because your presence is power. Your silence unnerves them because it reflects confidence. Your lack of response confirms that you no longer need their approval to walk in your authority, and that disturbs their comfort. They expected the old version of you to come forward, the one who questioned her worth, the one who needed reassurance. But that version no longer lives here. You have evolved. You have emerged. You have awakened. There is strength in your stillness. There is fire in your quiet. There is thunder in your patience. And when you hold your peace in the middle of provocation, the heavens respond on your behalf. Archangel Michael declares, "Let heaven fight for you. Let the angels speak where your voice is not welcomed. Let divine justice do what emotional reactions never could. This is not the time to defend yourself. This is the time to defend your peace. You worked too hard to get here. You've shed too many layers, cried too many nights, prayed through too many silent seasons to allow low frequencies to pull you back into an expired version of yourself. They're baiting you, but you will not bite. Be still and know. Know that you are protected. Know that you are not alone. Know that you are surrounded by light. When you rise in the morning, angels rise with you. When you walk into uncertain spaces, heaven walks beside you. When your name is spoken in rooms you haven't entered, the Spirit of Truth walks in ahead of you. You are not invisible. You are covered. You are not unguarded. You are encircled. The whispers will come, but they will not stick. The weapons will form, but they will not prosper. The confusion will stir, but it will not touch your clarity. Archangel Michael stands guard, his sword drawn, his shield lifted, his eyes scanning every realm where your name is mentioned. This is why your response is sacred. Every time you choose peace over panic, you advance spiritually. Every time you choose presence over proving, you rise in the unseen. This season is not about confrontation. It's about consecration. Pull back into your divine assignment. Retreat into your purpose. Anchor yourself in your prayer. Strengthen your spiritual hearing. You are being positioned. You are being aligned. You are being recalibrated for a future that requires your full attention, not your emotional depletion. Let go of the urge to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. They don't hate you. They fear what they can no longer control in you. And so, breathe. Be still. Release the weight of false responsibility. You are not obligated to carry the guilt of someone else's spiritual insecurity. You are not their healer. You are not their savior. You are not their emotional crutch. You are a vessel. You are a light. You are a prophetic flame moving through this season untouched and unbothered by the ashes they hoped you would return to. Archangel Michael says, rest, build, focus. Heaven is already responding in your silence. Type "I choose stillness" in the comments if you receive this divine instruction. Blessing code 3030 now floods your path with supernatural calm, angelic protection, and spiritual confidence. Archangel Michael says, you are no longer the one who needed to be seen to feel worthy. You are no longer the one who waited for their approval to step into your light. You are no longer the one who second-guessed your power simply because others chose to be silent when they should have spoken. A version of you, the one they thought they could manage, manipulate, and measure, that version is gone. Buried beneath transformation. Dismantled by divine fire. Replaced by a new being, a fierce flame, a voice rising from stillness with unwavering clarity. You are not who they thought you were. You are who heaven called into this moment. And now, you walk with a roar beneath your feet and revelation in your spirit. They underestimated you because they only ever studied your wounds, not your resilience. They watched your struggle and assumed that your softness was weakness, your kindness was naivety, and your forgiveness was foolishness. But Archangel Michael declares, your growth was never about proving anything to them. It was about uncovering the truth of who you've always been. You didn't change overnight. You awakened. You aligned. You shed layers that no longer belong to your spiritual DNA. And in doing so, you unlocked dimensions of yourself that even you hadn't fully seen. But now, Now you're walking in it. Willed, unbothered, untouchable. You are becoming the very force they secretly feared you would. This is the part they didn't expect. They expected you to break. They expected you to beg. They expected you to lower your frequency just to keep their attention. But instead, you went silent, and in your silence, you became a storm. A storm they can't name. A storm they can't touch. A storm that rises with grace and strikes with divine timing. You are not the victim of their misunderstanding. You are the revelation they were not prepared to receive. Archangel Michael says, you are no longer explainable in human terms. You step into the realm where purpose becomes protection and destiny becomes defense. Every tear you cried was not wasted. Every moment you doubted was not in vain. You have been built through fire, forged in warfare, and refined by rejection. The people who thought they could keep you small were actually the divine instruments that push you toward expansion. They did not delay your rise. They activated it. They did not hold you back. They unknowingly launched you forward. Because when they turned away, heaven leaned in. When they withheld their love, the divine covered you in grace. And when they tried to make you question your calling, God whispered louder, I have chosen you for such a time as this. Archangel Michael reminds you, they can no longer reach you because you have ascended. Not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. You had to rise. You had to leave the old spaces. You had to walk away from love that was rooted in fear and stay away from hands that only touched you to control. You had to outgrow the cage of being their emotional mirror. Because now you reflect only one thing, glory. You are rising out of the ashes of their doubts. You are rising from the ruins of mislabeling. You are rising with wings they never believed you'd grow. And heaven is exalting you because you chose the narrow path, the path of faith, stillness, and spiritual integrity. Let this be the declaration in your soul. I no longer live to be understood. I live to be aligned. You are not here to please people who are confused by your calling. You are not here to manage the discomfort of those who can't handle your light. You are not here to explain what God is doing in you to those who are spiritually tone deaf. You are here to rise. You are here to reign. You are here to reflect the power of one who has been through the fire and did not burn, one who walked through the flood and did not drown. Archangel Michael says, they tried to limit you, but you have become limitless. Type I rise in power in the comments if this message ignited your spirit. Blessing code 888 is now unlocking divine strength, prophetic identity, and irreversible elevation in your life. Archangel Michael says, what was once confusion is now clarity. What was once rejection is now redirection. What was once heartbreak is now holy revelation. You have passed through the wilderness of false love, survived the storm of masked loyalty, and stood still as the truth shattered every illusion. And now, the shift begins. The transformation unfolds. The breakthrough breeze. You are not only being delivered from them, you are being delivered into you, into the fullness of who you are, into the unshakable power of who heaven destined you to become. This is not the end of the story. This is the prophetic turning point, the moment where all things begin to work together for your good. They thought they broke something in you, but what they did was awaken a divine knowing that can never be silenced again. They feared you would rise, and now heaven declares you are rising with wings they cannot comprehend. You are rising with clarity that no lie can confuse. You are rising with grace that no bitterness can steal. The very ones who tried to dim your glow will now watch from a distance as God elevates you in plain sight. And the favor you walk in next will not require explanation. It will speak for itself. Archangel Michael says, what was hidden in shadows is now being pulled into light, and truth will walk ahead of you like a banner of vindication. Watch closely now. A shift in your relationships is going to begin over the next 7 days. Some will fall off without confrontation. Some will go quiet. Some will attempt to return with changed language, but familiar energy. You'll sense it. You'll feel it. Your discernment will be sharp. And when it happens, you will not be confused. You will not be heartbroken. You will feel peace, not pain. Because what used to disrupt your spirit now confirmed your protection. Archangel Michael says, a great calm is coming. Not the calm before the storm, but the calm that arrives when the storm has done its cleansing work. This is your reward for standing still. This is your reward for choosing light over retaliation, clarity over chaos, truth over tolerance. And it will end with emotional healing. Heaven is opening doors, divine opportunities, alignments that carry acceleration, connections that match your spiritual evolution. You didn't go through all of this just to be restored. You are being upgraded. You are being positioned. You are being trusted with more because you handled less with grace. Your character hath been tested. Your soul hath been stretched. Your name hath been spoken in rooms of angels. And now the response is being released in the natural. Archangel Michael says, your elevation is sealed. Your reward is being prepared. And your name will soon be whispered in the hearts of those who are sent to bless you. Someone who once believed a lie about you is going to come forward. Maybe not with words, maybe not with apology, but with action that speaks what their mouth could never say. I was wrong about you. And you will not need to gloat. You will not need to remind them of what they did. You will simply smile, because by then, you will be too far elevated to come back down for vindication. You are being lifted beyond the noise, beyond the narratives, beyond the reach of those who once felt powerful simply because they knew your pain. This is your confirmation. This was the final test before your promotion. You were not losing people. You were shedding weight. You were not being abandoned. You were being aligned. And heaven needed to make sure you could carry more without being emotionally entangled with less. Now that you've passed, the floodgates are opening. The winds are changing. The favor is forming. Archangel Michael says, the divine shift is not coming. It has already begun. Type the shift is mine in the comments if you feel this moment activating in your spirit. Blessing code 555 is now unlocking supernatural turnarounds, divine compensation, and heaven-sent favor. Archangel Michael says, now is the time to move with intention. Now is the time to respond with your spirit, not your feelings. Now is the time to speak with your soul, not your wounds. You have heard the warning. You have received the insight. You have been divinely prepared for what's ahead. This is not the moment to sit silently with what had been spoken. This is your moment to declare, to align, to rise into what has been revealed. You must respond. You must move. You must speak life over yourself in a way that heaven recognizes and hell cannot ignore. Because when you respond in agreement with divine truth, you activate the very protection, clarity, and breakthrough that has been hovering over your name. This is more than just a message. This is a spiritual transaction, a heavenly release, a divine announcement that has located your name and your situation. The angels have already marked your spirit as receptive, but now, you must seal this revelation with declaration. Speak what you now know. Declare what has been confirmed in your soul. Say it out loud. Type it into existence. Write it in your atmosphere. Archangel Michael says, when you affirm truth, you authorize transformation. So don't delay. Don't hold back. Don't let fear rob you of the freedom that is already waiting for your voice to release it. Right now, under the sound of this message, heaven is watching for your agreement. Not because God needs your confirmation to act, but because your declaration signals readiness. When you speak it, you shift it. When you type it, you activate it. When you declare it, you invite the movement of heaven to manifest visibly around you. There are doors on the edge of swinging open, favor waiting to drop, clarity ready to flood your mind, healing that has already been loosed from the spiritual realm, but your declaration is the bridge that brings it from the unseen to the seen. Your voice is the activator. Your agreement is the alignment. So declare this with your whole heart. I no longer accept fear disguised as love. I no longer tolerate connections rooted in control. I rise beyond emotional manipulation and walk in divine alignment. Say it again and again until your inner world feels it. Speak it until your soul breaks free from every chain of false affection and delayed identity. This is the moment you reclaim your power. This is the moment you stand in the fullness of who you are. This is the moment you say yes not just with your mouth, but with your energy, your boundaries, your peace, and your purpose. Archangel Michael calls you to take spiritual responsibility for what you've heard today, not just by listening, but by aligning. Align with light. Align with truth. Align with your next level. Walk differently. Think differently. Guard your space like the sacred territory it is. Let no one back in just because time has passed. Let no one re-enter just because they miss your glow. If they feared losing to you instead of loving you through your evolution, then they never deserved access to your elevation. Remember, this isn't about ego, it's about destiny. And your destiny is too great to be negotiated with those who are intimidated by your becoming. So rise. Type your declaration. Say it aloud. Share this word with someone who needs it. And most importantly, live like someone who knows the battle has already been won. You are not confused. You are not defeated. You are not broken. You are becoming. And what's ahead of you will not require you to carry those who only ever walk beside you to keep up appearances. Your future is pure. Your path is cleared. Your time is now. Type I align with heaven in the comments if you are stepping into agreement. Blessing code 1717 is now unlocking angelic assignments, mental clarity, and rapid divine manifestation in your life. Archangel Michael says, you are not what they feared. You are what heaven formed. You are not a threat. You are a testimony. You are not the villain. You are the vessel. And what they couldn't handle in you was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to be honored. It was meant to be protected. It was meant to be revealed in its full strength, no longer diluted by the emotional insecurities of others. You thought they loved you, and for a while, you hoped they did. But now you know. They didn't love your rise. They feared what your rise said about their own stagnation. And that fear distorted their closeness. That fear tainted their loyalty. That fear masked itself in affection and lured you into a connection, and fed off your dimness. But no more. No more hiding. No more thinking. No more questioning your discernment. You numbed out. You see now. You feel now, and heaven confirms what your soul has already whispered. You are light in human form, and no shadow around you can consume what heaven ignited within you. You are not to be managed. You are not to be molded into the comfort zones of those who fear your truth. You are not to be kept quiet so others can feel loud. Archangel Michael declares, you are the revelation they prayed for. They just weren't prepared to receive it. Let them whisper. Let them speculate. Let them wonder how you're still standing. Your survival is your answer. Your rise is your response. Every moment they doubted you was a moment heaven affirmed you. Every time they turned away, the angels drew near. Every time they hoped you would fail silently, heaven was preparing to lift you loudly. They didn't know that your fall would become your fuel. They didn't know that silence would make you stronger. They didn't know that losing you would become their lesson. And you don't have to remind them. You don't have to revisit the pain. You don't have to prove a thing. Because you are not here to seek closure. You are here to live in freedom. You are here to reign in peace. You are here to be the prophetic echo of heaven's greatness in the earth. Archangel Michael reminds you now, this season does not demand explanation. It demands elevation. This is where you rise, not because they believe in you, but because you finally believe in you. This is where you step into the fullness of your being, not with bitterness, but with boldness. You are not rising in spite of them. You are rising because God designed you to do so, with or without their approval. You are not climbing with a grudge in your heart. You are climbing with grace on your shoulders. You are walking into rooms now that carry your name in the Spirit. And no one can shut what God has sealed. So release the weight. Release the ache. Release the last thread of false obligation to those who only stayed to keep score. You owe them nothing. You owe your soul everything. You owe your purpose your full obedience. You owe your destiny your absolute loyalty. Wagun. Rise higher. Let go completely. Let this moment mark you. Let this word anchor you. Let this clarity comfort you. You are not what they couldn't love. You are what God could no longer hide. And now, you've been revealed. You are the shift. You are the sign. You are the storm that never broke, and the blessing that will not be delayed. Heaven is clapping for you now. The angels are celebrating your clarity. Archangel Michael stands watch over your new beginning, his wings covering your transition, his sword guarding your truth. This was your awakening. This was your realignment. This was your final release. You are not a victim. You are the revelation. You are not their lesson. You are heaven's legacy. You are not broken. You are becoming. And no fear, no lie, no loss will hold you anymore. Let them whisper. Let them wonder. Let them weep. But you rise. You reign. You remain, chosen, covered, and unshakably aligned. Type I am the revelation in the comments if this message confirmed your divine becoming. Blessing code 2020 now surrounds your next chapter with full restoration, overflowing favor, and irreversible breakthrough. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful, Spirit-led content to souls who need it. Every gift is received with deep gratitude and prayerful intention.